I will call to order the November 27th meeting of the Arvada City Council. And first, I would like to invite you all to join me in a moment of silent reflection. And now please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Rush, will you do the roll call?
Mayor Simpson,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mormon, Councilmember Ferre, Councilmember Davis,
Here.
Councilmember Ambrose,
Here.
Councilmember Pfeiffer,
Here.
Councilmember Marriott.
Here.
Councilmember Pfeiffer.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilmember Mormon and Ferre from tonight's business meeting.
All right, council members will cast their votes. All right, all members have voted. That motion passes 5-0 with Councilmember Mormon and Councilmember Ferre now being excused absences. All right. Next are presented the minutes of City Council business meeting dated October 16th, October 23rd, and November 13th, 2023. Are there any changes or corrections to the record? Seeing none, those minutes will stand as presented. All right. Next, we have our recognitions. Councilmember Marriott will present the recognition of the Public Works Department and Facilities Management Team.
Thank you, Your Honor. In 2013, the City of Arvada joined the Department of Energy's Better Buildings Challenge, becoming the first municipality in Colorado to join the initiative. The goal of the challenge was to reduce energy consumption in city-operated buildings by 20% in 10 years. The city is proud to announce surpassing the 20% goal to achieve a combined 28% reduction in energy conservation or energy consumption across all facilities. This effort was coordinated by the Public Works Department and Facilities Manager Kim Vager in coordination with many facilities team members who played a critical role in updating systems and infrastructure to achieve this goal. The city focused efforts on 4 core facilities that make up the majority of energy use: the Arvada Center, the Arvada City Hall, and 3 police substations. I have here a certificate of recognition for the Public Works Department and Facilities Management teams, and if those of you who are here, if you'd please come on down to the podium, and I'll be able to give this to you. And this says, in recognition of achieving the Department of Energy's Better Buildings Challenge by reducing energy consumption by 28% in 10 years across city facilities. Say a couple words. Is this
I'd like to thank really the City Council, our leadership team, the mayor, the city manager. This has been 8 years that we've been working on this, and we couldn't have gotten here without them because you approved IGAs, you approved some of our energy upgrades, and we made the challenge. The one big thing that is important is our partnerships. We partner with the DOE from Washington, and we also partner with the Colorado Energy Office to get to this point. So, and a big thanks to my team. I got some team members here that didn't come up, but they're working tonight. And then I got Katie. Also got Bree from the Department of Energy here in Denver that came over, and then Corey's in the background as well. But the whole team played a big part in what we did for the last 8 years. And thank you again, Council, for the recognition.
Absolutely. Thank you for all of your hard work.
Thank you.
The The next recognition is for the Arvada West Girls Flag Football Team, which will be presented by Councilmember Pfeiffer.
Hey, can I get the coach and the team to come up? Yeah, all of you. Everybody.
Yeah.
You can go by the podium. Before I read this, I'll have to say you guys got more news coverage than we do, obviously. So
Yes, we got plenty.
great job. It was always exciting to see you all on TV in the region, especially. So the Arvada West girls flag football team claimed a state championship on October 14th when they beat Cherry Creek. Yay! 34-14. As always, Cherry Creek's always a tough one to always beat, no matter what the sport is.
Yes.
34-14 at the Denver Bronco Training Center in Inglewood, Colorado. Their championship capped a perfect season of 25 wins and 0 losses. That's amazing. 72 teams competed in girls flag football this season in Colorado, and the city of Arvada is proud to be the home to the 2023 state champion Arvada West Wildcats. The team will be recognized at the Denver Bronco game against the Los Angeles Chargers on December 31st. In February, the girls will travel to Orlando, Florida, where they will represent the Broncos 17 and under girls division of the NFL flag football flag championship at the NFL Pro Bowl. Congratulations to head coach Mario Lopez and the entire Arvada West community on an outstanding accomplishment. So the city council and the city have provided a certificate of recognition in recognition of a perfect season of 25 wins and 0 losses for winning the state championship, and it's signed and dated today, the 27th of November, but signed by Mayor Simpson, Habit, and all of city council. So I'll come down and bring this down to you.
Thank you. Great family.
Introduce yourselves and your position.
On behalf of Arvada West Girls Flag Football, thank you to the City Council for having us out tonight and presenting us with this. Extremely excited. These girls do a very good job. Second year of it being a high school sport, and we're 41-1 over 2 seasons, 2 years. So very proud of these young women. A lot of them came back and played another year, and next year we'll have all of them returning, so probably another undefeated season. So these girls do a really good job, and thank you, Mayor, for having us, and I'll let them introduce themselves, their years of experience. So let's see. Who's first? Danica. And your position.
All right, my name is Danica Rodriguez. I play defense, safety most of the time.
My name is Emma Verdugo. I play defense as well, mostly linebacker.
My name's Sarah Walker. I play wide receiver.
My name is Molly Shellpepper. I play slot receiver.
My name is Sailor Swanson, and I play quarterback.
My name is Alex Ansel, and I play running back.
My name is Aubrey Cespedes. I'm the other wide receiver.
My name's Hayden Briscoe, and I'm the center.
My name is Lindley McReynolds. I'm the rusher.
My name is Isabella Turan, and I'm the cornerback.
Thank you all. Keep up the good work.
One
One more coach, come on.
I'm assistant coach, and we do have championship shirts to give you. They are actually in my daughter's car, and we'll get them after this.
Excellent.
Thank you again for tonight.
Thank you for being with us, champs. Thank you. Our next agenda item is the third quarter financial presentation, which will be delivered by Brian Archer. Mr. Archer.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for the opportunity to present the third quarter report.
You cleared the room, Brian.
Dang it, Brian.
I was waiting. I was waiting for somebody to clear the
You
room.
think the high
yeah.
school kids would hang out for your report?
I know where they're going. It's the best part of the whole meeting. I'm not sure. Okay, for you that don't know me, my name is Brian Archer. I'm the finance director here. Deb Nielsen, the deputy director, will also be helping me tonight. So let's jump right in. Overview. Revenue growth has continued throughout the year, but was negative in the third quarter. And so we are still ahead of budget, but we are starting to get dangerously close to falling below budget. And we'll talk more about that here in a minute. Expenditures are remaining in line. The team is doing a wonderful job managing operating expenditures. We've talked a lot the last few updates about CIP costs and how they've been accelerating. Fortunately, these are slowing down to more what I'm going to call normal times, which is really 7 to 10%. It's still an exorbitant increases here. And is the recession on pause? If you remember the last couple of times we came to you all, we talked a lot about a recession. Now we're hearing more and more that maybe it's going to slow down. Maybe we'll have the soft landing that we're hoping for. But on the next couple of slides, we'll talk that all the recession lights are still lit up, and they're still pointing towards having some level of a recession. This is a very complicated chart, but in the end, what it represents is the 2- and 10-year Treasury yields, 2-year being in blue, 10-year being in yellow, and the Fed funds rate. And what you'll see is the 2 and 10 inverted. That means, and this makes no sense, but this is what is happening today. You get more money by keeping your investments in short term. So in other words, the 2-year pays better than the 10-year. That usually means that people are looking out and they're worried that the future is not as good as today. That inversion started back in July of 2022. On average, the last 5 times we've had a recession, that recession has happened within 18 months of that inversion. We are currently sitting at 16, almost 17 months. 18 months would be January. So we'll see. I cannot tell the future. What you'll see here is a few various charts of what the Fed is looking at when they change interest rates. They look at GDP, they look at unemployment, PCE, and the Fed funds rate. What is PCE? That's your personal consumption index. Basically, these are the various items that decide whether we're going to go into recession, whether the Feds are going to raise rates, cut rates, et cetera. Ultimately, most of these came in very, very close to what the Fed was hoping would happen. Unemployment sitting almost at 4%. That's what they want. Change in GDP, 2.1%. That's an older number. GDP for the last quarter actually rose about 4.9%. That's a little bit out of control. PCE, about 3.3%. That is good. It's been coming down. Their goal is 2%. Ultimately, that means you got your Fed fund rate up at around 5.5%. They thought it would be 5.6, a little bit lower. So what's that mean? That means a little bit more positive than they were expecting, and why the Fed went on hold, and we only saw 1 rate increase this past quarter. We wanted to put this slide in here a little bit because at the time of the production of this book, there was a lot of conversation around Prop HH and what that would do. That failed. And most recently, we did get legislation that will change a little bit your property tax, but we do want to represent for the average homeowner in the city of Arvada what they pay to the various districts, what they pay to us at the city. And you can see for the average homeowner, about $4,000, the amount that comes to the city of Arvada, about $175. This will change moving forward. It will increase going into next year. The volume of increase will not be as great as it was projected. We're still working through what the new information that we received this week will do to the average homeowner, and we will bring this back to City Council once we have final information. This chart we bring to City Council every quarter. This represents the council identified fund balance goal That is 17%. That is that green line, and you can see we are currently significantly over that. That is a picture in time. That 17% fund balance goal is at the end of our 10-year model. We are just representing where we are today. Well situated if we do go into a recession, that we should be able to provide the ongoing city services that everybody has come to love. Let's dive into our general fund a little bit. You will notice that for the most part, our revenues are positive. We do have a few monitor lights, one on property tax, one on auto use, one on interest revenue. We'll talk about auto use and interest revenue here in a minute. The property tax monitor light is solely compared to budget. We've had some delay in some receipts, but that will hit budget by the end of the year. We're very confident on that. And then on the expenditure side, we already talked a little bit about those. If we dive a little bit deeper into sales tax, you will notice overall we're at a 4.9% increase. Our budget is 3.5. Again, this is through 8 months. And so I will tell you this number has come down the last couple of months. We're still ahead of budget, but we are expecting that to get quite tight as we move into the fourth quarter. You will see some categories, and let me walk through what they stand for some of you that haven't seen this before. So supermarket is obviously King Soopers, Safeway, that kind. Wholesale represents Costco and Sam's Club. Electronic shopping is exactly what you would think, Amazon, Target, Walmart. Full-service restaurants are your sit-down restaurants. Utilities, from an electric perspective, is Xcel Energy. Hardware stores, certainly Home Depot and Lowe's. Limited service restaurants are your drive-thrus, so think of McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. Cable, again, whoever you get your cable service through. And then ultimately you see liquor store. That is liquor store only. That is not liquor that is sold in grocery stores or sold in 7-Elevens. This is liquor stores only. And so you can see we do have a negative light on full-service restaurants, hardware stores, and liquor stores. Certainly understandable as things get tight. I'm sorry.
Mr.
Mayor
Archer,
Simpson?
we have a question from Councilmember Pfeiffer. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And we see that at times when the dollar gets tight, we see people move from eating at sit-down restaurants to going to more fast food. And certainly last year and the year before, we saw a lot of growth in the hardware stores environment. People were stuck at home, COVID, remodeling, finishing their decks, their basements, et cetera, and that has returned to a more normal situation. So again, these are compared to the prior year, not compared to entire life of those stores. Councilmember Pfeiffer.
So two questions. The 4.9% increase is your projection?
That is where we are through 8 months.
For right now.
Correct.
Do you recall what it was originally, what that number you thought may be? Right.
3.5%.
So it is higher.
It is higher right now.
But we still have another quarter to get through.
Correct. And I can tell you, preliminary looks for the fourth quarter are negative. And so we're expecting this number to come down.
Even though they said that sales of Black Friday were record-breaking almost?
Yes.
But, okay. And then the other thing I recall when we dealt with the recession last time, one of the indicator lights that we looked at, and I don't know where they sit in here, were like coffee shops.
Yep.
Because if coffee shops start seeing a decline in sales tax, it's a very clear indicator that people are kind of buckling down on their spend or available funds. Where is that in here again? I can't remember. So that's what I always look for.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not going to be on the list. It's going to fall way below. These are your top 70% of the producers. So coffee shops are a small percentage.
We do say coffee shops in
we
there?
We do track them. You will not see that in any of the materials that you have, but happy to share that with you if you
Yeah, could we get that? And maybe when we get close to recessions, that's kind of like the canary in the mine.
Coffee shops and pet stores are the other one that
stores
we've historically used. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the pet stores, but yeah, if we can get some information on that,
be happy
that'd
to.
be good.
Yeah, thank you. This is the same piece of information just presented in a different format and showing a few more items that we added to the bottom, including floor coverings and furniture stores. But you can really see while our supermarkets and our e-shopping are doing quite well, we are seeing some other areas really take a step back. And again, these are year-over-year comparisons with 8 months' worth of data. And finally, the same piece of information presented in just a third way to see it. On auto use, we mentioned that that has a yellow light. You will notice year over year that we are basically flat. That is what we budgeted, was flat. And so as long as we see the same amount of buying in the fourth quarter, we will expect to meet our budget. What each one of those little color stacks are representative of is each month of the year. And so you can see our fourth quarter is always historically our largest month when people spend the most money buying new and used vehicles. And then finally, on our general use tax, this is also another indicator, Councilmember Pfeiffer, that we use when taking a look at recessions. This is businesses reinvesting in themselves. So buying tools, equipment, manufacturing products, et cetera. And that has been pretty good so far this year. You will notice, obviously, again, the end of the year, a lot of tax spending happening to try to get those write-offs, and we will see where that comes in this year. So if there's no further questions, I'll turn it over to Ms. Nielsen.
Remember legends next time.
I'm sorry?
Legends.
Oh.
So when you go back to the previous one, what the colors mean.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm going to go over a couple of the other funds. We have a few warnings on here and several monitor lights, and we'll go over those. The Parks Fund is all tracking positive. Revenues are tracking above budget, and expenses are tracking just under what we've budgeted. So looking good there. The tax increment funds, those are the 0.21 and 0.25 of the sales tax that is dedicated to police services. Again, there, everything is looking good. Revenues are tracking right with budget, and expenses right now are tracking under, and we expect that to continue for the year. The Community Development Fund, which is our Community Development Block Grant Program, that is also tracking. Revenues are just above the budget, and expenses are under budget. So good information there. On the Housing Fund, this is our Section 8 housing program, voucher program. Revenues are tracking right at budget. We have a monitor on expenditures. We are seeing rents increase as, you know, in the area. So we are watching that closely to make sure that we can continue helping all the families we are currently helping. Capital projects, revenues are above budget there, so we're looking good. On the expenditure side, we've talked a little bit about, you know, the rising costs of the expenditures for all the infrastructure work that's being done. We are seeing that slow down a little bit, but we still have a warning on here because we are watching that closely. The Water Fund, we have a monitor on both revenues and expenditures. If you recall, we had a very wet spring into summer that has reduced the revenue that's come in. And on the expenditure side, we have, you know, quite a bit of work going on the capital infrastructure side. So same thing as the Capital Projects Fund, we are monitoring those expenses as well. Wastewater revenues are in line with budget. This is not affected by the wet spring and summer because those rates are set based on your winter usage. So those are pretty well set for the year. So revenues are tracking with budget. The same thing here. We have quite a bit of capital infrastructure work going on, so we are monitoring those expenses as well for the wastewater fund. Stormwater, the revenues are tracking right where we expect them to be with budget, and it's the same thing here. We have, you know, quite a bit of capital infrastructure work going on, so we are monitoring those expenditures as well. We expect them, all three of those funds, to end positive at the end of the year, but we are watching them. The Golf Fund is having a really good year. Golf rounds are up 8.4% for the year, so their revenues are, you know, tracking above budget, and expenditures are staying right in line with budget. So very good story there for the Golf Fund.
Real quick, Deb, is that for both Lake Arbor and Westwoods, or is that one golf course favoring over another?
They both have seen increases. I don't have that right here, what the increases are at both, but they both have seen increases.
Thank you.
And the restaurants are doing well as well this year. Their revenues are up quite a bit, so. The solid waste, that is our trash recycling and hauling fund. Revenues and expenditures are tracking with the budget. We do have a monitor on the year to date, as this is a new fund. This program has been in effect for just over 2 years. It's also still repaying its startup loan back to the water fund. So we will continue to just monitor this fund until it's been in existence a little bit longer. And the risk management fund is our insurance fund. All the other funds in the city pay into this fund to support our insurance program. We have seen some large claims in the liability area and the property area this year. That's why we have a warning on the expenditures. And that's why the warning is on the year end as well. Then I'll move on to our investments. If you recall, the objectives of our investment policy is safety, liquidity, and then yield in those orders. So we want to make sure we are investing in safe investments to protect our investments. And then liquidity and yield fall under that. We do have a portion of our portfolio managed by an outside agency, PFM. They manage about $56 million of our portfolio, and the city manages $257 million of that. The city will hold all of our side of that investment portfolio until maturity, unless it's called ahead of time. And PFM is actively managing that $56 million portion. So they are trading and selling things before maturity if need be. So the city's portion of that $257 million, the yield right now is at 2.46%, and the PFM, the $56 million investment, is at 2.08. Again, they're actively managing that, so we would expect that to be a little bit lower. The total portfolio increased about $7.5 million from last year, so that's good. And then the city is allowed to invest in A-rated to BBB-rated investments. We bring to you each quarter what we have invested in those lower rates. And as you can see, they're all very good, strong companies. They just have a little bit lower credit rating. So, but we like to bring that to you so you can see what we are invested in that area. Are there any questions? Then I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Archer.
Thank you, Deb. Finally, one of the things City Council asked for is you wanted to get more updates each quarter based on where we are with grants and how we are doing in the grant world. And I can say, as an organization, we are more dedicated to this than I've ever seen in the years I've been here. And we've been successful with many grants. We've also lost on our applications with many grants, but we're in the market and we're trying very hard to maximize the revenues that we have. And so this should look very familiar to you from last quarter. There's many updates to this. As you can see, we've been awarded some additional grants. We're declined on a few. But ultimately, as you can see, very active throughout 2023. This is only for 2023. There are some areas that we're working on grants for 2024 that we will add with the next update. And so to show you on a summary page, about $3.8 million, almost $3.9 million awarded, working on writing about $163,000 worth, $50,000 pending. declined about 11.8 million, and we did withdraw some grants, and that was because we actually received better funding from a different granting source, and so we went ahead and stepped back on some of those areas. We are working this year as well on some congressional direct spending and trying to figure out if we can be available with some of the projects we're doing to get those dollars and put them to use.
Councilmember Pfeiffer?
Yeah, hey, Brian, have we analyzed the declined ones? Like, what was the theme of the declined ones? Is it
Absolutely.
application writing? Was it our match? Was it, you know?
In some cases, we took a chance on some areas that maybe we didn't meet all the criteria.
Okay.
So for example, on the Dolan Navigation Center, they wanted day shelter to be included, and that was not part of our application. Other than that, we met everything. And so we as an organization aren't ready to quite go to that level. And that, I mean, of the 11 million, that's 10 million of it.
Right there.
You know,
yeah.
so that's a very large number. And then the second one you'll see below that, waiving tap fees for a
Legacy.
apartment complex, and again, we did not meet the criteria on AMI. So,
Okay, so it's just a gamble to see if we can get something
and
out
these,
of it.
and I will tell you, these are gambles in the past we didn't take. And so, as an organization, we're taking many more of these. Our success rate a couple of years ago was over 85% on grants, and we realized that we need to get in the ring a lot more than that.
Mhm.
You know, we should probably be more in the 50% success rate, honestly. And so, we took some chances, wrote very, very well-written grants, just didn't meet certain criteria.
No, I appreciate that. Spreading that net is important, so appreciate you doing that.
And I
the team doing
do
that.
want to heap praise on the team. This was done as an organization. This was
Yeah.
not done out of the finance department. This was done out of many other areas, and they've really stepped up and done an amazing job. So.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Mr. Archer, are there any grants on here that historically we perhaps would not have applied for that we did and that we received?
That is a good question. Mayor Simpson, you caught me. I'm going to have to take a look here really quickly. I will offer we haven't applied for turf replacement in the past. Those are grants that we did withdraw, but we received funding from other areas. The clean vehicle technology hasn't really existed, but those are areas that we haven't applied for in the past. EV stations and the SCFD out at Majestic View, including funding for operations and then funding for improvement at the wetlands, are all areas we have not applied for in the past. So, and as you can see, we actually got awarded on all of those, so very exciting.
That is exciting. I know Majestic View has needed the funding, so that is excellent.
They did a wonderful job. Okay, that's our very quick presentation. I did forget to say, hopefully you received the hard copy of your information that is also available online. If you have any questions, please let us know.
Perfect. Are there any additional questions from council? Not seeing any lights, so
Thank you,
thank you
Mayor.
very much to you guys. We appreciate all your hard work. All right, next on the agenda is public comment for items not scheduled on the agenda for a public hearing. This is limited to 3 minutes per person. Public comment is your opportunity to address us, your city council. We always listen very carefully. However, we will not respond to your comments during the meeting. We will refer any issues to our city clerk, Ms. Kristen Rush, and the appropriate city team members for further research and response. So first on the list for signed up, I have Darlon Chang.
Good evening, City Council. I'm Darlon Chang, an Arvada resident and a director of a startup company formed from an Arvada neighborhood piloting and demonstrating practical and affordable all-electric net zero building called GEOS near Indiana Street and West 69th Ave. Congratulations on the historic election results. And I'm sure that many Arvada residents are eager to support you in making further history, as you could lead Arvada to become a pioneering model for meeting the challenges of energy and climate. I know from personal experience living in a well-insulated and tightly sealed building envelope home that the home energy needs of Arvada residents could be practically and affordably reduced in half. Moreover, the risk of asthma for children could be reduced by 30% by improving our indoor air quality in our homes, schools, commercial and public buildings, and offices. This city council could do much to accelerate making this happen for all Arvada residents by overcoming the inertia of lack of education on energy efficiency, as well as builders and developers resisting all but the smallest changes in building codes and policies because they want to avoid the work of training and hiring new people and changing their supply lines. Startup companies like mine could help many more customers and create many more jobs if Arvada's building codes and policies made the changes needed to counter the surge in energy and insurance costs many Arvada residents have already experienced over the last 2 years because of the Ukraine war and the Marshall Fire. My own home insurance renewal costs went up by 2. It doubled the year after the Marshall Fire, and I ended up having to switch to a different insurance company. And I don't think I'm alone in experiencing this. Based on my experience as a former oil and gas worker at ExxonMobil, I'm convinced from 15 years working in that industry as a research engineer, seeing depletion, seeing how much we need to do in order to get the last remaining oil and gas out of the ground, I'm convinced that there will be skyrocketing energy and insurance costs for Arvada residents this decade without large reductions in oil and gas use. So please help workers and residents like me transition off of dependence on oil and gas by taking science-based climate and energy action in 2024. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next on the list, we have Kia Ruiz. Ms. Ruiz, is it Ruiz or Ruiz?
Ruiz.
All right, thank you. I apologize for mispronouncing it.
Thank you for asking. Hello, Madam Mayor and City Council. My name is Kia Ruiz, and I brought my child Bodhi with me, whoever's doing the timing. There we go. I kind of just wanted to speak in front of this group here about why Arvada with regards to sustainability and climate. Me and my family moved here 4 years ago, and I got a lot of flack from people in my life. As an Indigenous and Black person, why are you going to Arvada? And my answer kind of really perplexes a lot of people. It's environmental privilege. When people talk about the environment and they talk about climate, we seem to talk about environmental justice and things that are happening in places where people don't have a lot of institutional power. Here in Arvada, we are very privileged with our median household income. It's a lot higher than a lot of places around us. And I had to tell people I was moving to Arvada for environmental privilege. We have a lot of our home has a lot of space for growing. We do a lot of gardening there. Arvada as a municipality has longer water rights than a lot of other places, and people do not understand that when I mention it to them. And so with that said, I'm here with Bodhi because he was here earlier this year and he wanted to talk about the lack of acknowledging climate action, and that is something that I'm seeing change here definitely. In my 4 years being in the city, there have been a number of things that have transitioned. And we are very optimistic about how the city is going to look forward with climate action and not just talking about sustainability or coded words. Since you all took office, a couple of things have happened nationally. One, hardiness zones. I saw there's some gardeners here. I'm actually not with their group, but I do garden. And Arvada used to be a 5B hardiness zone. This is a very significant thing for growers because it lets you know what kind of things you can plant. We went from 5B to 6A, and people are like, yay, that means we can grow different things. I've seen sweet potatoes go for 3 years now. I've seen turmeric go tented, which should never happen here because it's warming up, and I've seen peanuts go. And so that sounds kind of fun, but that also means that we're getting Dust Bowl event wins, and if you're a backyard composter, you know things are drying up. This is significant because also the 5th National Climate Assessment came out recently, and it has shown since you all have all taken office, every state now is negatively impacted. And that means warming up here, and we're seeing that what's happening with our snowpack. Him and I, we used to go out to St. Mary's Glacier just to look at how our water moves about. The last 2 years, the glacier is barely existing there, and they're even reconsidering naming it a glacier at this point. Water is a very contentious subject that's going to be coming up more with the multi-state compacts coming up. Arvada's in a great spot, and I really applaud you for how you're working with water infrastructure. So there are a number of things that are on the way, and we need to have climate being said as climate action. And just for my child, this is why I'm here. I live in Arvada for environmental privilege. I'm here for my kids, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we really say climate as a city now and the actions we take for our young people going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much for you both attending tonight. And finally, the last sign up I have is Ms. Stephanie Stanley.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. I am the general manager for the Highlands Ranch Metro District. I'm here with our Parks and Parkways manager, Dirk Ambrose. Some of you may know June 22nd was a historic date for us. The tornado that hit Highlands Ranch damaged homes and much of the Metro District's property. And thanks to collaborative efforts from many of our partners, one of which is the City of Arvada, we were able to hit the ground running quickly and clean up the damage that was created. I am so thankful for the willingness of partners like the City of Arvada to step forward and support us in our efforts. And tonight, I am thrilled to be here to present this plaque to recognize your staff members, Andy Kudalak and Aaron Varela, for stepping up and helping us in our time of need. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I certainly appreciate that. I remember it was quite the storm. And so we are thrilled everyone is okay, and we are thrilled that our team was able to pitch in and be of assistance. And thank you so much for coming here this evening and recognizing their hard work. All right. Ms. Rush, do we have anyone else signed up for public comment? Anyone on Zoom? Nope. All right. Seeing that closed, we will move to the next item on the agenda. All right, the next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. And bear with me, everybody, this is going to be quite a long bit of reading. All right, the first item on the consent agenda is R23-101, a resolution accepting an annexation petition concerning Canyon Pines Triangle Property Annexation Number 1, a parcel of land generally located at 52 Canyon Pines Drive, finding said petition substantially compliant with CRS 31-12-1071, and setting a public hearing for January 8, 2024 at 6:15 p.m. for council determination on whether the area meets the requirements of CRS 31-12-104 and 105 and is considered eligible for annexation. The next item on the consent agenda is R23-102, a resolution accepting an annexation petition concerning Canyon Pines Du Brouillard Pump Station, Annexation Number 2, a parcel of land generally located at 52 Canyon Pines, finding said petition substantially compliant with CRS 31-12-1071, and setting a public hearing for January 8, 2024, at 6:15 p.m. for City Council to determine whether the area meets the requirements of CRS 31-12-104 and 105 and is considered eligible for annexation. The next item is R23-103, a resolution authorizing an agreement by the City of Arvada and Native Sun Construction, Inc. for the Ralston Trunk Sewer improvements at Ward and 69th Project Number 17-SR-07 in the amount not to exceed $5,695,588, project number 17-SR-07. The next item on the consent agenda is R23-104, a resolution authorizing amendment number 1 to an agreement between the City of Arvada and Kennedy Jenks Consultants, Inc. for professional design services for additional engineering, design, and construction phase services, thereby increasing the contract amount from $425,472 to an amount not to exceed $932,028. The next item is R23-105, a resolution authorizing change order number 4 to an agreement by and between the City of Arvada and Hammond Infrastructure, Inc. for construction of 18-ST-40 Ralston Road, Yukon Street to Garrison Street, in an amount not to exceed $805,167 for a revised total contract amount not to exceed $17,089,635. The next item on the consent agenda is R23-106, a resolution granting a non-exclusive public utility easement to the Public Service Company of Colorado doing business as Xcel Energy for the construction of utility lines for the Myers Pool Replacement Facility located at 7904 Carr Drive. Next item is R23-107, a resolution authorizing a lease agreement by and between the City of Arvada, the Arvada Gardeners for the property located at 9195 West 57th Avenue, also known as the Arvada Community Garden. The next item on the consent agenda is R23-108, a resolution authorizing a lease agreement by and between the City of Arvada and the Horse Protection League for certain portions of the property located at Long Lake Ranch. And the final item on the consent agenda is R23-109, a resolution approving an agreement by and between the City of Arvada and R.G. Brinkman Company doing business as Brinkman Constructors for construction of the Garrison Garden Paseo in the amount not to exceed $3,608,192. So, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda? Councilmember Pfeiffer.
I move that we approve Resolution 23-101 through 109 be approved.
Thank you. Motion, please cast your votes. All votes are cast. That motion passes 5-0 with Councilmembers Mormon and Councilmembers Foray being excused absences. All right, and next on the agenda are resolutions. First, we will consider R23-110, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement for provision of juror lists by and between the City of Arvada and the State of Colorado Judicial Department. I believe Judge Katie Kurtz will be presenting.
Good evening, Mayor Simpson and council members. From time to time, our court holds jury trials to hear criminal cases. The Office of State Court Administrator is required by law to maintain master juror lists for all Colorado state courts. They make a master list, juror list available to our municipal courts at no cost, subject to the terms of a standard intergovernmental agreement. Under this IGA, the state will provide the Arvada Municipal Court with portions of its 2024 master juror list for residents in the City of Arvada. This will allow us to more efficiently issue municipal jury summonses and administer related processes for when we have jury trials. And we recommend that the City Council approve R23-110, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement for provision of juror list by and between the City of Arvada and the State of Colorado Judicial Department.
All right, thank you, Judge Kurtz. Judge Kurtz, I apologize. Ms. Rush, do any members of the public wish to speak on this matter? All right. Any questions or discussion from the council? Seeing none, I will take a motion. Councilmember Pfeiffer.
If you want to, Sharon, you can. Okay. It's a practice night. So I thought you guys could do the easy ones. I move that Resolution 23-110, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement for the provision of juror list by and between the City of Arvada and the State of Colorado Judicial Department be approved.
All right, if council will cast their votes. All right. That passes 5-0 with council members Mormon and Foray being excused absences. All right, we have no ordinance on first reading tonight, so we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is public hearings, which we have none of. So the final thing on our agenda this evening will be second public comment time. Ms. Rush, has anyone signed up for public comment at this time? Are there any members and individuals in the chamber who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, Ms. Rush, do we have anyone on Zoom? All right. Finally, I will bring it around to council reports. Do any council members? Councilmember Marriott.
Thank you. I noticed a couple of weeks back, as I was perusing BidNet, that the City of Arvada was asking for bids or an RFP for a company to create a sustainability plan for the City of Arvada. And it's the first I had heard of that. And so I just wanted to make a suggestion that we look at that as a council in a study session format. And here's why. I spent a little bit of time reviewing other local governments' sustainability plans, and they're quite a mixed bag. Most of them tend to be just agreeing to promote Xcel Energy's Partners in Energy plan or other types of plans, and I think that's pretty innocuous, and if that's what our intention is, you know, we're probably fine. However, there are a couple of them, particularly the county's plan, that is both mixture of kind of what I would call pie in the sky and potentially damaging or dangerous actions. And I'll speak to a couple of them. One of them they're talking about that, you know, one of the actions they would like to see, the minimum action is that 50% of all the cars bought are electric cars by 2026. Well, 2024 is 4 weeks from now, and 2026 is 2 years from that, and the percentage of cars bought in the U.S. that are electric cars this year was 7.9%. So way away from that goal. Now, a city can't really do anything about forcing people to only buy one type of car, but there was other things contained in there, like percentages of homes and businesses and commercial buildings that would be converted to all electricity by certain dates. That's something, however, a city could do. And, you know, actions like that, we heard in public comment tonight. There are some people who would be highly supportive of that, regardless of the consequences. But those could have extremely severe consequences to individuals, businesses, families, particularly people on the margins, could have profound, dramatic increases to them. And so I would just suggest, before we engage a consultant to craft for us a plan, that we as a council talk about what do we want to see in there so that we give them guidance for what should be in that plan. Now, if the council wants to put things in there that can be, you know, dangerous to certain people in the community, the council should do that, but they should do that knowingly and willingly that that's what they're trying to do. And I think we'd get a better result if a consultant were to have direction from us about what they should be doing with that plan. So that's my only council thing, other issue for council for us to just consider, and as we move forward in this process, to see if the rest of you also believe we should look at that in kind of a study session format to come up with a better result there.
Thank you, Councilmember Marriott. Councilmember Davis.
Thank you, Mayor Simpson. Thank you, Member Marriott. I participated in a Zoom call for the Colorado Communities for Climate Action, and it was hosted, one of the speakers was from the Sierra Club, and Council Member Ambrose and I started out together, and we had the question of, if we are investing or we want to have electric power generation reduced in the state in terms of clean air and clean jobs, are we pushing the pollutants out of the metro area and into other areas and other states that Xcel Energy serves and where they have power plants? And my example to council would be the Comanche station that Xcel runs in Pueblo, and it's outside the metro area. They're expanding that. It is gas and coal-fired. The Xcel Energy closed and raised. Move it closer. Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Shall I start from the beginning?
No.
I will speak in a French accent. We've gone over this. So we were concerned that not only would pollution be pushed into other states that are outside the purview of the metro area, but then also, what do we do when we close power plants? Examples would be the Arapahoe station here in the metro area, Cameo station in Grand Junction, and then the ancillary unintended consequences of closing coal mines and then gutting cities. There really wasn't an answer. They were going to get back to me on that. And the other comment I had was, you know, if we're not going to use electric power generation using gas or coal, what would be our alternatives? I was told that would be wind and solar, but if you follow what the Sierra Club is doing in the Piceance Valley, every time somebody wants to put up a wind farm, they put up a protest. So going to the all-electric is going to be challenging for the city, and I think that with the sustainability plan that we need to definitely look at this a little closer.
Are there any other additional council reports from activity statement? All right, then I will give my final from the Arvada Center and simply say that tickets for the holiday show, which is Cinderella, are on sale now. It is going to be absolutely spectacular. If you saw Beauty and the Beast last year, which was one of the finest shows put on, it's the same creative team was brought back for Cinderella, so I highly encourage everyone to go see it. Otherwise, I think with that, Ms. Gillis, do we have any final reports from you?
Just one specific response to the comments that were made by council members. This will be great policy direction to receive in the upcoming city council retreat. We'll make sure that you have information in advance of that. We'll also provide additional information about what went out on BidNet.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gillis. Ms. Morris?
Nothing for me, Your Honor.
All right, perfect. Well, with that, I want to welcome Councilmember Davis and Councilmember Ambrose to the dais. This was their first meeting. Congratulations, you guys. You survived. And with that, we're adjourned.